Chapter 5, Love Language Number 2, Quality Time. I should have picked up on Andrea's primary love language from the beginning. What was she saying on that spring night when I visited her and Mark in Little Rock? Mark doesn't spend any time with me. What good are all of our things if we don't ever enjoy them together? What was her desire? Quality time with Mark. She wanted his attention. She wanted him to focus on her, to give her time, to do things with her. By quality time, I mean giving someone your undivided attention. I don't mean sitting on the couch watching television together. When you spend time that way, Netflix or HBO has your attention, not your spouse. What I mean is sitting on the couch with the TV off, looking at each other and talking, devices put away, giving each other your undivided attention. It means taking a walk, just the two of you, or going out to eat and looking at each other and talking. Time is a precious commodity. We all have multiple demands on our time, yet each of us has the exact same hours in a day. We can make the most of those hours by committing to some of them to our spouse. If your mate's primary love language is quality time, she simply wants you, being with her, spending time, provided it's the right kind of time. Have you ever noticed that in a restaurant, you can almost always tell the difference between a dating couple and a married couple? Dating couples look at each other and talk. Married couples sit there and gaze around the restaurant. You'd think they went there to eat. When I sit with my wife and give her 20 minutes of my undivided attention, and she does the same for me, we are giving each other 20 minutes of life. We will never have those 20 minutes again. We are giving our lives to each other. It is a powerful emotional communicator of love. One medicine cannot cure all diseases. In my advice to Andrea and Mark, I made a serious mistake. I assumed that words of affirmation would mean as much to her as they would to him. I had hoped that if each of them would give adequate verbal affirmation, the emotional climate would change and both of them would begin to feel loved. It worked for Mark. He began to feel more positive about Andrea, sensing her genuine appreciation for his hard work. But it had not worked as well for Andrea because words of affirmation was not her primary love language. Her language was quality time. I called Mark, who told me Andrea was still not very happy. I think I know why, I said. The problem is that I suggested the wrong love language. Mark hadn't the foggiest idea what I meant. I explained that what makes one person feel loved emotionally is not always the thing that makes another person feel loved emotionally. He agreed that his language was words of affirmation. He told me how much that it had meant to him as a boy and how good he felt when his wife expressed appreciation for the things he did. I explained that Andrea's language was not words of affirmation, but quality time. I explained the concept of giving someone your undivided attention, not talking to her while you watch sports or read texts, but looking into her eyes, giving her full attention, doing something with her that she enjoys doing, and doing it wholeheartedly. Like going to the symphony with her, he said. I could tell the lights were coming on in Little Rock. Dr. Chapman, that's what she has always complained about. I didn't do things with her. I didn't spend any time with her, she'd always say. We used to go places and do things before we were married, but now you're too busy. That's her love language, all right. No question about it. But what am I going to do? My job is so demanding. Tell me about it, I said. For the next 10 minutes, she gave me the history of his climb up the organizational ladder, of how hard he had worked, and how proud he was of his accomplishments. He told me of his dreams for the future, and that he knew that within the next 5 years, he would be where he wanted to be. Do you want to be there alone, or do you want to be there with Andrea and the children? I said. I want her to be with me, Dr. Chapman. I want her to enjoy it with me. That's why it always hurts me so much when she criticizes me for spending time on the job. I am doing it for us. I wanted her to be a part of it, but she's always so negative. Are you beginning to see why she is being so negative, Mark? I asked. Her love language is quality time. You have given her so little time that her love tank is empty. She doesn't feel secure in your love. Therefore, she has lashed out at what was taking your time in her mind, your job. She doesn't really hate your job. She hates the fact that she feels so little love coming from you. There's only one answer, Mark, and it's costly. You have to make time for Andrea. You have to love her in the right love language. I know you are right, Dr. Chapman. Where do I begin? I asked Mark if he had his legal pad handy, the same pad on which he had listed positive things about Andrea. It's right here. Good. We're going to make another list. What are some things that you know Andrea would like you to do with her? Things she has mentioned throughout the years. Here is Mark's list. Spend a weekend in the mountains, sometimes with the kids, and sometimes just the two of us. Meet her for lunch at a nice restaurant, or sometimes just at Panera. When I come home at night, sit down and talk with her about my day and listen as she tells me about her day. She doesn't want me to watch TV while we are talking. Spend time talking with the children about their school experiences. Spend time playing games with the children. Go on a picnic with her and the kids on Saturday, and don't complain about the ants and the flies. Take a vacation with the family at least once a year. Go walking with her and talk as we walk. When Mark's list was finished, I said, "You know what I'm going to suggest, don't you, Mark?" "Do them," he said. "That's right. 1 a week for the next 2 months. Where will you find the time? You will make it. You are a wise man," I continued. "You would not be where you are if you were not a good decision maker. You have the ability to plan your life and to include Andrea in your plans." "I know," he said. "I can do it." And, Mark, this does not have to diminish your vocational goals. It just means that when you get to the top, Andrea and the children will be there with you. "That's what I want more than anything," Mark said with feeling. The years have come and gone. Andrea and Mark have had ups and downs, but the important thing is that they have done it all together. The children have left their nest, and Mark and Andrea agree that these are the best years ever. Mark has become an avid symphony fan, and Andrea has made an unending list in her legal pad of things she appreciates about Mark. He never tires of hearing them. Focused attention. It isn't enough to just be in the same room with someone. A key ingredient is giving your spouse quality time, is giving them focused attention, especially in this era of many distractions. When a father is sitting on the floor rolling a ball with his 2-year-old, his attention is not focused on the ball, but on his child. For that brief moment, however long it lasts, they are together. If, however, the father is looking at his phone while he rolls the ball, his attention is diluted. Some husbands and wives think they are spending time together when, in reality, they are only living in close proximity. They are in the same house at the same time, but they are not together. A wife who is texting while her husband tries to talk to her is not giving him quality time because he does not have her full attention. Quality time does not mean that we have to spend our lives together, our together moments gazing into each other's eyes. It means that we are doing something together and that we are giving our full attention to that other person. The activity in which we are both engaged is incidental. The important thing emotionally is that we are spending focused time with each other. The activity is the vehicle that creates the sense of togetherness. The important thing about the father rolling the ball to the 2-year-old is not the activity itself, but the emotions that are created between the father and his child. Similarly, a husband and wife going running together, if it is genuine quality time, will focus not on the run, but on the fact that they are spending time together. What happens on the emotional level is what matters. Our spending time together in a common pursuit communicates that we care about each other, that we enjoy being with each other, and that we like to do things together. Quality conversations. Like words of affirmation, the language of quality time also has many dialects. One of the most common dialects is that of quality conversation. By quality conversation, I mean empathetic dialogue where two individuals are sharing their experiences, thoughts, feelings, and desires in a friendly, uninterrupted context. Most individuals who complain that their spouse does not talk do not mean literally that he or she never says a word. They mean that he or she seldom takes part in empathetic dialogue. If your spouse's primary love language is quality time, such dialogue is crucial to his or her emotional sense of being loved. Quality conversation is quite different from the first love language. Words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focuses on what we are hearing. If I am sharing my love for you by means of quality time, and we are going to spend that time in conversation, it means I will focus on drawing you out, listening empathetically to what you have to say. I will ask questions, not in a badgering manner, but with a genuine desire to understand your thoughts, feelings, and desires. I met Patrick when he was 43 and had been married for 17 years. I remember him because his first words were so dramatic. He sat in the leather chair in my office, and after briefly introducing himself, he leaned forward and said with great emotion, "Dr. Chapman, I have been a fool, a real fool." "What has led you to that conclusion?" I asked. "I've been married for 17 years," he said, "and my wife has left me. Now I realize what a fool I've been." I repeated my original question. "In what way have you been a fool?" "My wife would come home from work and tell me about problems in her office. I would listen to her and then tell her what I thought she should do. I always gave her advice. I told her she had to confront the problem. Problems don't go away. You have to talk with the people involved or your supervisor. You have to deal with problems." The next day, she would come home from work and tell me about the same problems. I would ask her if she did what I had suggested the day before. She would shake her head and say no. After 3 or 4 nights of this, I would get angry. I would tell her not to expect any sympathy from me if she wasn't willing to take the advice I was giving her. She didn't have to live under that kind of stress and pressure. She could solve the problem if she would simply do what I told her. It hurt me to see her living under such stress because I knew she didn't have to. The next time she'd bring up the problem, I would say, I don't want to hear about it. I've told you what you need to do. If you're not going to listen to my advice, I don't want to hear it. I would withdraw and go about my business. What a fool I was, he said. What a fool. Now, I realized that she didn't want advice when she told me about her struggles at work. She wanted empathy. She wanted me to listen, to give her attention, to let her know that I could understand the hurt, the stress, the pressure. She wanted to know that I loved her and that I was with her. She didn't want advice. She just wanted to know that I understood. But I never tried to understand. I was too busy giving advice. And now she's gone. Patrick's wife had been pleading for quality conversation. Emotionally, she longed for him to focus attention on her by listening to her pain and frustration. Patrick was not focusing on listening, but on speaking. He listened only long enough to hear the problem and formulate a solution. He didn't listen long enough or well enough to hear her cry for support and understanding. Many of us are like Patrick. We are trained to analyze problems and create solutions. We forget that marriage is a relationship, not a project to be completed or a problem to solve. A relationship calls for empathetic listening with a view to understanding the other person's thoughts, feelings, and desires. We must be willing to give advice, but only when it is requested and never in a condescending manner. Most of us have little training in listening. We are far more efficient in thinking and speaking. Learning to listen may be as difficult as learning a foreign language, but learn we must if we want to communicate love. That is especially true if your spouse's primary love language is quality time and his or her dialect is quality conversation. Fortunately, numerous books and articles have been written on developing the art of listening. I will not seek to repeat what is written elsewhere, but suggest the following summary of practical tips. Number 1, maintain eye contact when your spouse is talking. That keeps your mind from wandering and communicates that he or she has your full attention. Number 2, don't listen to your spouse and do something else at the same time. Remember, quality time is giving someone your undivided attention. If you are doing something you cannot turn from immediately, tell your spouse the truth. A positive approach might be, I know you're trying to talk to me and I'm interested, but I want to give you my full attention. I can't do that right now, but if you give me 10 minutes to finish this, I'll sit down and listen to you. Most spouses will respect such a request. Number 3, listen for feelings. Ask yourself, what emotion is my spouse experiencing? When you think you have the answer, confirm it. For example, it sounds to me like you are feeling disappointed because I forgot blank. That gives him the chance to clarify his feelings. It also communicates that you are listening intently to what he is saying. Number 4, observe body language. Clenched fist, trembling hands, tears, furrowed brows, and eye movements may give you clues as to what the other is feeling. Sometimes body language speaks one message while words speak another. Ask for clarification to make sure you know what she is really thinking or feeling. And number 5, refuse to interrupt. Research has indicated that the average individual listens for only 17 seconds before interrupting and interjecting his own ideas. If I give you my undivided attention while you are talking, I will refrain from defending myself or hurling accusations at you, or dogmatically stating my position. My goal is to discover your thoughts and feelings. My objective is not to defend myself or to set you straight. It is to understand you. Learning to talk. Quality conversation requires not only empathetic listening, but also self-revelation. When a wife says, "I wish my husband would talk. I never know what he's thinking or feeling," she is pleading for intimacy. She wants to feel close to her husband, but how can she feel close to someone whom she doesn't know? In order for her to feel loved, he must learn to reveal himself. If her primary love language is quality time and her dialect is quality conversation, her emotional love tank will never be filled until he tells her his thoughts and feelings. Self-revelation does not come easy for some of us. We may have grown up in homes where the expression of thoughts and feelings was not encouraged, but squelched. To request a toy was to receive a lecture on the sad state of family finances. The child went away feeling guilty for having the desire, and he quickly learned not to express his desires. When he expressed anger, the parents responded with harsh and condemning words. Thus, the child learned that expressing angry feelings is not appropriate. If the child was made to feel guilty for expressing disappointment at not being able to go to the store with his father, he learned to hold his. By the time we reach adulthood, many of us have learned to deny our feelings. We know we are no longer in touch with our emotional selves. A wife says to her husband, "How do you feel about what Steve did?" And the husband responds, "I think he was wrong. He should have blank." But he is not telling his feelings. He is voicing his thoughts. Perhaps he has reason to feel angry or disappointed, but he has lived so long in the world of thought that he does not acknowledge his feelings. When he decides to learn the language of quality conversation, it will be like learning a foreign language. The place to begin is by getting in touch with his feelings, becoming aware that he is an emotional creature in spite of the fact that he has denied that part of his life. If you need to learn the language of quality conversation, begin by noting the emotions you feel away from home. Carry a small notebook and keep it with you daily. 3 times each day, ask yourself, what emotions have I felt in the last 3 hours? What did I feel on the way to work when the driver behind me was riding my bumper? What did I feel when I stopped at the gas station and the automatic pump did not shut off and the side of the car was covered in gas? What did I feel when I got to the office and found that the project I was working on had to be completed in 3 days when I thought I had another 2 weeks? Write down your feelings in the notepad and a word or two to help you remember the event corresponding to the feeling. Your list may look like this. Event: tailgater, feeling angry. Event: gas station, feeling very upset. Event: work project due, feelings frustrated and anxious. Do that exercise 3 times a day and you will develop an awareness of your emotional nature. Using your notepad, communicate your emotions and the events briefly with your spouse as many days as possible. In a few weeks, you will become comfortable expressing your emotions with him or her, and eventually you will feel comfortable discussing your emotions toward your spouse, the children, and events that occur within the home. Remember, emotions themselves are neither good or bad. They are simply our psychological responses to the events of our life. Based on our thoughts and emotions, We eventually make decisions. When the tailgater was following you on the highway and you felt angry, perhaps you had these thoughts. I wish he would lay off. I wish he would pass me. If I thought I wouldn't get caught, I'd press the accelerator and leave him in the twilight. I should slam on my brakes and let his insurance company buy me a new car. Maybe I'll pull off the road and let him pass me. Eventually, you made some decision or the other driver backed off, turned, or passed you, and you arrived safely at work. In each of life events, we have emotions, thoughts, desires, and eventually actions. The expression of that process is called self-revelation. If you choose to learn the love dialect of quality conversation, that is the learning road you must follow. Dead seas and babbling brooks. Not all of us are out of touch with our emotions, but when it comes to talking, all of us are affected by our personality. I have observed two basic personality types. The first I call the Dead Sea. In the little nation of Israel, the Sea of Galilee flows south by the way of the Jordan River into the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea goes nowhere. It receives, but it does not give. This personality type receives many experiences, emotions, and thoughts throughout the day. They have a large reservoir where they store that information, and they are perfectly happy not to talk. If you say to a Dead Sea personality, "What's wrong? Why aren't you talking tonight?" he will probably answer, "Nothing's wrong. What makes you think something's wrong?" And that response is perfectly honest. He is not content. He is content not to talk. He could drive from Chicago to Detroit and never say a word and be perfectly happy. On the other extreme is the babbling brook. For this personality, whatever enters into the eye gate or the ear gate comes out of the mouth gate, and there are seldom 60 seconds between the two. Whatever they see, whatever they hear, they tell. In fact, if no one is at home to talk to, they will call someone else. "Do you know what I saw? Do you know what I heard?" If they can't get someone on the phone, they may talk to themselves because they have no reservoir. Many times, a Dead Sea marries a babbling brook. That happens when they are dating. It is a very attractive match. If you are a Dead Sea and you date a babbling brook, you will have a wonderful evening. You don't have to think, "How will I get the conversation started tonight? How will I keep the conversation flowing?" In fact, you don't have to think at all. All you have to do is nod your head and say, "Uh-huh," and she will fill up the whole evening, and you will go home saying, "What a wonderful person." On the other hand, if you are a babbling brook and you date a Dead Sea, you will have an equally wonderful evening because Dead Seas are the world's best listeners. You will babble for 3 hours. He will listen intently to you, and you will go home saying, "What a wonderful person." You attract each other. But 5 years after marriage, the babbling brook wakes up one morning and says, "We've been married for 5 years, and I don't know him." The Dead Sea is saying, "I know her too well. I wish she would stop the flow and give me a break." The good news is that Dead Seas can learn to talk, and babbling brooks can learn to listen. We are influenced by our personality, but not controlled by it. One way to learn new patterns is to establish a daily sharing time in which each of you will talk about 3 things that happened to you that day and how you feel about them. I call that the minimum daily requirement for a healthy marriage. If you will start with the daily minimum, in a few weeks or months, you may find quality conversation flowing more freely between you. quality activities. In addition to the basic love language of quality time or giving your spouse your undivided attention, is another dialect called quality activities. At a recent marriage seminar, I asked couples to complete the following sentence. I feel most loved by my husband or wife when blank. Here is the response of a 29-year-old husband who has been married for 8 years. I feel most loved by my wife when we do things together. Things that I like to do and things she likes to do. We talk more. It sort of feels like we are dating again. That is a typical response of individuals whose primary love language is quality time. The emphasis is on being together, doing things together, giving each other undivided attention. Quality activities may include anything in which one or both of you have an interest. The emphasis is not on what you are doing, but why you are doing it. The purpose is to experience something together, to walk away from it feeling like, he cares about me. He was willing to do something with me that I enjoy, and he did it with a positive attitude. That is love. And for some people, it's the love's loudest voice. One of Emily's favorite pastimes is browsing in used bookstores. I just love to disappear into the sacks and see what treasures I can find, she says. Husband Jeff, less of an avid reader, has learned to share these experiences with Emily and even point out books she may enjoy. Emily, for her part, has learned to compromise and not force Jeff to spend hours in the stacks. As a result, Jeff proudly says, I vowed early on that if there was a book Emily wanted, I would buy it for her. Jeff may never become a bookworm, but he has become proficient at loving Emily. Quality activities may include putting in a garden, visiting historic sites, birding, going to a concert, working out together, or having another couple over for homemade soup and bread. The activities are limited only by your interest and willingness to try new experiences. The essential ingredients in a quality activity are, number 1, at least one of you wants to do it. Number 2, the other is willing to do it. And number 3, both of you know why you are doing it, to express love by being together. One of the byproducts of quality activities is that they provide a memory bank from which to draw in the years ahead. Fortunate is the couple who remembers a foggy early morning stroll along the coast, the spring they put in that prairie garden, and the day they revisited their childhood neighborhood, the night they attended their first Major League Baseball game together, the one and only time they went skiing together and he broke his leg, the quiet times of working side by side at night in their home office, and, oh yes, the awe of standing beneath the waterfall after a 2-mile hike. They can almost feel the mist as they remember. Those are memories of love, especially for the person whose primary love language is quality time. And where do we find time for such activities, especially if both of us have vocations outside the home? We make time, just as we make time for lunch and dinner. Why? Because it is just as essential to our marriage as meals as are to our health. Is it difficult? Does it take careful planning? Yes. Does it mean we have to give up some individual activities? Perhaps. Does it mean that we do things we don't particularly enjoy? Certainly. See Jeff and Emily. Is it worth it? Without a doubt. What's in it for me? The pleasure of living with a spouse who feels loved and knowing that I have learned to speak his or her love language fluently. A personal word of thanks to Mark and Andrea in Little Rock, who taught me the value of love language number 1, words of affirmation, and love language number 2, quality time. Now it's on to Chicago and love language number 3. Your turn. What in your marriage detracts from spending quality time? A quick thought about quality time. We just stepped off the stage where we were speaking with Gary at a mega marriage conference in Chicago's United Center. We were now on a mission with a specific goal: escape the vast arena to find the city's finest deep dish pizza. Impatiently standing in front of the elevator that would take us to our exit, a lively couple approached. "Hey, can you settle a bet?" they inquired. "Lisa thinks she's giving me quality time whenever we're in the same room together, even if her eyes are glued to her phone. Sometimes I feel like we're having dinner with Siri." "Not exactly," Lisa interjected. "I just don't think I need to be looking at your eyes nonstop. That's just creepy, right?" She looked at Les and me for affirmation. "You guys are the experts. Do you agree? Do I need to be looking at his eyeballs to have it count as quality time?" Les and I both felt like we'd suddenly been handed a referee's whistle and thrust into a high-stakes boxing match. "Well, quality time isn't about locking eyes," I said. "Aha, so I'm right," Lisa quickly exclaimed. "Hold on," I continued. "It's not a staring contest for sure, but it is about focused attention." "Let me ask you a question, Lisa," Les chimed in with the all-impatience of a hungry psychologist waiting for a table at Giordano's. "Do you like pineapple on your pizza?" "Are you kidding me?" Lisa exclaimed, clutching her heart for dramatic effect. "Absolutely not. It's like putting ice cream on spaghetti. It's like wearing socks with sandals. It's repulsive." "Well, when you're scrolling on your phone while Mark is trying to connect with you, it's like pineapple on pizza. It may qualify as a pie, but it's not the kind he's craving. It's downright distracting. In fact, you wouldn't even want a slice of that pineapple pizza, would you?" I raised my eyebrows at Les, as if to say, "You must really be hungry." But it worked. The analogy clicked with both Lisa and Mark. We talked for a few more minutes over the soundtrack of Les's growling stomach. Lisa began to see that screen time doesn't go with quality time, and proximity does not equal quality time. It's focused and full attention that matters. That's the secret sauce of quality time. It's what leads to meaningful conversation and fills the love tank of everyone whose primary love language is quality time. Did you catch that important distinction in Gary's chapter? He said it this way: quality conversation is quite different from the first love language. Words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focuses on what we are hearing. You can't hear or draw someone out while multitasking. It requires wholehearted investment in hearing, understanding, and accepting them. When you make someone feel like nothing else in the world matters more than the conversation you're having with them in that moment, that's when you're giving them quality time. So how about you? Is this your primary or secondary love language? Are you longing to capture a loved one's undivided attention? Or is quality time a foreign love language to you? If so, who are the people in your life who would love nothing more than to have you be fully present and actively listening to them? Whatever the case, we again encourage you to take advantage of the free quiz at 5lovelanguages.com. And of course, if you want to master the art of quality time, Take the full 5 Love Languages Premium Assessment at 5lovelanguages.com/premium and gain all it has to offer you in a personalized plan for giving and receiving quality time. In fact, the assessment will actually show you something you probably don't know about yourself, your time style, and how it plays an important role in learning anyone's quality time dialect. Now, for all you die-hard pineapple on pizza enthusiasts, we get it. We salute your bold rebellion. You don't conform to traditional pizza norms. That's okay. As you fearlessly flaunt your fruit toppings, you'll just need to find another polarizing debate topic, like wearing socks with sandals. First of all, I like pineapples on my pizza, so... But anyways. If your spouse's love language is quality time. Number 1. Some couples are together a lot more than others. If that's the case for you, don't try to make all your time together quality time. Designate specific times and places for planned togetherness. Number 2. Ask your spouse for a list of 5 activities that he would enjoy doing with you. Don't assume you know. Make plans to do one of them each month for the next 5 months. If money is an issue, space the freebies between the "we can't afford this" events. Number 3. One way to share quality time at a distance is to include your spouse in your day as it is happening. Send a photo of something you saw on your walk to the office, or relay a funny incident that happened in a meeting. One woman said, "My husband sent a photo of him, my daughter, and the dog sitting on our front porch. I was at work, and it made me feel like I was hanging out with them." Number 4. Think of an activity your spouse enjoys, but which brings little pleasure to you. SEC football, crafting, nature photography. Tell your spouse that you are trying to broaden your horizons and would like to join them in this activity sometime this month. Set a date and give it your best effort. Number 5. Plan a weekend getaway for just the 2 of you sometime within the next 6 months. Be sure it's a weekend when you won't have to be in touch with the office or have a family commitment. Focus on relaxing together, doing what one or both of you enjoy. Number 6. Make time every day to share with each other some of the events of the day. When you spend more time watching the news than you do listening to each other, you end up more concerned about the Middle East than about your spouse. Or, when you spend time on Instagram than you do listening to each other, you end up more concerned about your 100 friends than your spouse. Number 7. You have to do chores anyway, so talk as you dust, declutter, and do laundry. It will make the work go much faster. And number 8. Read the travel section in the Sunday paper together and dream out loud about places you'd like to go. Whether you actually go to these places or not, it's fun to imagine together.